back to the channel. So today we are doing a 250 mile update on the Hoka Rincon 2. I'll be giving my thoughts, opinions and scores in terms of how I found this shoe after 250 miles. Okay, so I've done a previous vlog, previous review and vlog on the Hoka Rincon 2. I did the 100 mile review after my first 100 miles. If you haven't watched that yet, again, click on the link above and watch that first, just in terms of that was my original scoring after 100 miles. So now we're 250 miles in. I thought I'd do a quick update in terms of have my scores gone up or down, has anything changed since that original 100 mile review. So yeah, let's dive straight into it. As always, I start off all my reviews with the outsole, and on Hokas, that's one of the most debatable and hotly debated areas of a Hoka shoe. So after the 100 miles, I gave the outsole a 7. There was a bit of wear and tear, and kind of it had been a bit chewed up in the first couple of miles. However, I gave it a 7 overall on the 100 mile review purely because it hadn't really degraded after about 10 miles. It just continued to stay the same. Being honest though, now after 250 miles, I'll do some close-ups as I'm talking. It is a bit more chewed up, predominantly kind of the front of the midfoot and the back of the forefoot, which is where I do a lot of my impact, and then a little bit more on the lateral side as well. Again, just a bit further back, maybe right in the middle of the midfoot, and that's kind of where I do obviously all of my landing. Again, it's heavily chewed. Again, in the 100 mile review, I mentioned about how I don't really care how it looks, and I don't really care how it looks. Again, some people might be a bit more bothered by it, that obviously we've chewed through the kind of plastic coating, and we're now into the actual EVA midsole. However, again, it's had zero impact on the performance. It doesn't let any water in. And these shoes have just propelled me to my first ever marathon finish in my first ever attempt at a marathon. So I've got a bit of not a soft spot, but yeah, these have always done me well. Up until recently, they were the shoe I wore for every PB I've achieved so far. So yeah, the outsole has worn down. Again, yes, it's still probably one of the biggest drawbacks. But again, like I said in the previous review, it's offset by the lower weight. Yes, they could have put a full coverage on and it would have increased the weight. Other shoes can do that, so if you want that, then go and get a different shoe. But yeah, overall, the outsole, I'm going to stick with a 7. It's not a 6 or a 5 because it's wearing down fast, because it's not having any impact on it. The grip's still great. Actually, it's not getting any water coming in because of the plastic covering's gone. It is wearing down a little bit, but it can, again, eventually it's going to stop. It's not worn down loads and loads. It can't go down much more because it can't just keep going up and up into the midsole. This might be it now. This might be the full wear that it's going to get. So, in which case it should still last a while. I'll go into durability a bit later on. But yeah, overall outsole is still a 7 out of 10, as in the 100 as it was in the 100 mile review. Okay, so next is midsole. Again, this is probably one of the best parts of this shoe. It's got a high stack. Again, I put details on the screen. Stack height. I think it's a 5 mil drop from heel to toe. And again, it's a great EVA. It's just a big slab of EVA, nothing fancy. It's not dual density. It's not got a plate, no rods or anything. It's just a simple big slab of EVA, but it's a really durable and flexible EVA to some extent. Like I mentioned in the previous vlog, again, going at slower speeds for me, at easier pace, I find it quite a firm foam, so not too soft. You can run on it for miles and miles and miles, and it doesn't kind of deaden or bottom out. And then again at faster paces, so my kind of 5k pace and above, it kind of softens because you're putting so much more impact into it. It kind of gives a bit more and then rebounds you a bit more back. So it's one of those weird kind of foams where the more you put into it, the more you get back out of it. Originally I gave it 8 out of 10 after 250 miles, again because it can basically do everything this shoe now. I can do intervals, I can do speed repeats, I can do 5Ks, 10Ks, half marathons. I've done a marathon in this, and everything in between, easy days. It's probably best for, like I say, tempo work, threshold work, kind of 5K up to probably half marathon, maybe slightly less. but it can do everything. So again, I give it an 8 out of 10 originally. I'm now going to up that up to about 8.5, just because again it's a really great midsole. It's not deadened yet after 250 miles. It feels pretty much the same as it did out of the box. Again, I'll mention durability later on, but yeah, I think it's got quite a bit more life left in it yet. So 8.5 out of 10 for the 250 mile review. Next up is the upper. It's a, I think it's a, is it double? I think it's a dual engineered mesh. And again, after 250 miles, it's literally as new. No signs of wear and tear. The decals are on the back, all around the medial side, now on the back, and it kind of does go all the way down the lateral side as well. They had a bit more stability. The front of the shoe is literally just the material. It's very breathable. I've never had any overheating issues with this. The tongue isn't gusseted at all, but it is looped through the lacing. So again, I get very little, if any, tongue slipping. I mentioned in the previous video, this heel tab is kind of unnecessary. It's a massive piece of material, which is sometimes, yeah, you use it to put your foot in it, but it's a bit over the top. A little bit of string, I think, was on the original one, and I think on the 3 they've gone back to a little string. So this was a bit OTT. But yes, the upper, honestly, I gave it a 9 last time, and I'm sticking with that. It's literally a great upper. I see no breathability issues, no overheating issues. Dead easy to get a good lockdown. The lacing is that slightly stretchy lacing where you can give it a good pull. It locks you down really good. The lace, the tongue is very minimal padding, but probably just about enough. Maybe a touch more for me was my personal preference, a bit more padding. The heel counter, again, it is fairly firm, which is kind of, again, one of my preferences. I like a decent heel counter, and again, the plushness is about right. Much more padding, you'd up the weight, and it doesn't really need it. Maybe a touch more on the tongue, which is why I'm not going to give it a 10 out of 10, but 9 out of 10 for the upper, because it is a really great upper. Okay, so outsole done, midsole done, and upper done. So in this 250 mile update now, we've just got left is the durability and value stuff, predictions. So durability, again, in the previous vlog, 200 miles, I gave it a 6 out of 10 for durability, purely on the back of the outsole. Obviously, that was wearing down. After 100 miles, it had worn down quite a bit. I'll put a picture on now of what it looked like after 100 miles, and then I'll put it side by side with it now in terms of 250 miles. So it did wear down quite a bit between 0 and 100. It's worn down obviously a bit more between 100 and 250, but again, I can only assume it's going to continue to slow down in terms of how badly it degrades. You just can't keep wearing down. So yes, the pods specifically, most of the patterns have gone now. They're just smooth, so maybe not much more, not loads more miles. However, I'm predicting at least 400 for me, just because I can use this for 400 miles, especially in drier weather when the grip's less required. So yeah, I'm hoping to get to at least 400. I will do another review if I get to that level, and I'll do another update in terms of what it looks like after 400 miles and has it gone back down even more. Obviously, these are no longer on sale. The 3s are out at the minute, and I've been out for a while. I got these on discount, and I'll go into value in a sec. But the 3s have got a few extra kind of rubber pods, which are kind of in the key areas. So that's probably a big upgrade. If I went and got the 3, I think I'd have less of an issue. And obviously the 4 won't be long away. So for durability, I gave it a 6. I've upped it slightly to 6.5 because I think at the 100 mile review, I probably thought I'd probably get it to 250, maybe 300-ish miles, maybe a touch more. Whereas I'm thinking at least 400 now, maybe more. So 6.5 for durability, purely on the back of this outsole. It has worn down. Even the rubber pods aren't particularly durable. They've worn down quite a bit after 250 miles. I've got other shoes in my rotation, a Reebok Float Ride Energy 3 and even my trail shoe, and then but neither of them have got particularly I've got much wear and tear at all on the outsoles, and they've been worn in similar conditions on similar surfaces. So but again, that's the price you pay for the Hoka. It's the lightness you pay for, and you have to. There's got to be a trade-off. So so durability was 6.5. It's gone up half a point from the 100 mile review, purely because I think it can last a tiny bit longer than I first predicted. And that rolls us straight into value. So yeah, again, these were 105 recommended retail price. I got them on discount for 74 because the 3s had just come out. I gave it a 7 after the 100 miles. I'm probably going to stick with that. I was thinking do I creep it up to 7.5, etc. But it's a £75 shoe, and there is some major wear and tear at the bottom, which again I was aware of before I bought them. It didn't put me off, and I'm glad it didn't put me off. Would I rush and get another one? I would definitely buy more Hoka shoes. Maybe my next one I might get one that's got a bit more coverage, maybe a slightly heavier one, maybe I mean a Mac 4's got, or a Mac 5 even's got the kind of rubberized EVA, so it's kind of a bit more of a durable outsole, or maybe even a different Hoka. Or no, I mean, I've got some reservations now because obviously I've got other shoes which last far longer, and I work on a budget in terms of I haven't got hundreds and hundreds of pounds to keep renewing my shoes. I tend to get a good pair and use them as much as I can in a rotation, and then when they've gone. But again, these might do 400. But that'll be the very, very maximum. I've got a Reebok upstairs, which, yes, they're not the same type of shoe. That's more of a daily trainer, but it does a lot of the same things. It can do a lot of various different distances. Yes, the stack height's a bit less. Yes, it's not quite as responsive, but it's nearly half the price, and will last longer. So it's a bit of a trade-off. So yeah, this is a really great shoe. The outsole wearing down that fast has dampened it a little bit, but yeah, so 7 overall for value. I'd still stick with that for now because I got it on discount. I'm glad I got it on a discount, not for £100, 105 it was. So yeah, so overall on the 100 mile review, just a quick summary now. It scored 37 out of 50, which was 74%, and now it's scored 38, so it's got up 2.5 points basically. So 38 out of 50, which is now 76%. So again, it's not the highest scoring shoe in the world, but again, I don't go and buy Vaporflies, Alpha Flies, Adios Pros, Adios Prime X's, anything like any kind of super shoes or whatever, Nova Blasts, Meta Speeds. I don't buy super shoes. I probably will never buy a super shoe. I've not got a budget to pay hundreds and hundreds of quid for shoes. I got all my 3 shoes in this rotation. If you haven't seen the other reviews, again, go and watch those. I got my daily trainer, this is technically my Speedwork shoe, and my trail shoe. I got all 3 for less than 180 quid. Obviously all new. When these all wear out, I'll probably get another rotation, probably very similar, probably around that same kind of price. I haven't got that much money to spend that on one shoe, and I need more than one shoe for my rotation. So, but yeah, that's the quick recap update of my Hoka Rincon 250 mile review. Like I said, I've done 250 miles. I've just finished my marathon training block. I'm looking to obviously go into another training block soon, probably a half marathon or a 10k project block. This will stay in that rotation and will continue to be used on a regular basis alongside my other shoes. Again, I'll do an update further down the line if I continue to use it, or as and when I retire it, and I'll give everyone an update in terms of how long it lasted. Like I say, going forward, I might go and buy another Hoka, or probably will buy other Hoka shoes in the future. Which models, I'm not sure. Would I buy the 3? I probably wouldn't rush to buy 3 unless it was reduced again. Again, if you get this for a good price, that is in sub 70 maybe, and you've probably got a bargain, but that's durability is always the niggling little issue at the back of your mind. So yeah, so just a quick wrap up. As always, thanks for watching. Like I said, other vlogs dropping soon in terms of new training blocks, etc. I appreciate everyone taking the time out to watch. I hope it's been useful, and I will see you on the next one.